Many people think they know green beans, but there are more than just the traditional green beans we scarf down every Thanksgiving. Depending on what part of Appalachia you are focusing on, the concept of green beans could vary in shape, size, and color. One style of bean harvesting centers around harvesting beans with heirloom seeds. These heirloom beans are thought to be far more worthwhile than the various beans available at supermarkets. You can plant these seeds and the same product will grow, thus making them heirloom beans. The Californian company Rancho Gordo specializes in these beans. On their website, they list all of their beans in stock, and the names are unique and colorful. They are wide-ranging from lila beans to Royal Corona beans. There are certainly bean names that will make you scratch your head. Certain varieties of bean dishes are thought to be unique to Appalachia, and they are, like shuck beans and leather britches. However, Ronnie Lundy said in class the root of these beans is actually international, hearkening to Germanic roots. In William Woys Weaver's Heirloom Vegetable Gardening, a Master Gardener's Guide to Planting, Seed Saving, and Cultural History, he also draws attention to Germany's ties to the bean, saying, the oldest depiction of the common garden bean in a European work is thought to be a 1543 cutout of a bush bean in the German herbal of Lennart Fuchs. Despite this consensus that the bean harkens back to the 16th century, the bean's presence in America is a little more hotly contested, with people claiming both Old World and New World origins, but this most likely stems from Americans' tendencies towards altered histories. Typically, the categorization of beans doesn't follow standard classification. Rather, they are emphasized by their features and intricacies. This tends to result in names like the snap bean or the butter bean. Traditionally, these names arose because of the various subtleties of the bean. Nowadays, Weaver says the bean gets organized scientifically according to how the seeds germinate and whether the two seed halves push above the surface or remain below it. The people who know beans best, however, seem to be the farmers. Kentucky farmer Bill Best has witnessed green bean production for the majority of his life, being raised by his parents who were subsistence farmers. Best's story became recognized on a more widespread level when his article surrounding his harvesting family was published in 1988. He commented, "I thought I was the only one frustrated by the current state of fruits and vegetables." Best further discusses the problematic nature of vegetable production in the first scene of the Southern Foodways Alliance documentary Seed Saver. Using the analogy of Jack and the Beanstalk, he says, "I think the problem has become today that the giant has won. The giant he's referring to is superstore manufacturers of vegetables, and specifically for Best, ConAgra Foods." He goes on in the documentary to state, "It doesn't pay to put our trust in the seed companies whose only interest is in the bottom line." One of the types of bean Best farms are considered heirloom beans, like what we discussed before. These beans also combat the more big business vegetables. Although, as Ronnie Lundy discussed in class, these vegetables found in the supermarket might lessen the profits of many farmers, but they also provide more affordable options for people who struggle to purchase the locally grown food of farmers' markets. So, to highlight some of the ways that store-bought beans and locally grown beans could be confused for each other, I've asked my friend Justin Robowski to do a blind taste test to see if he can tell which is which. Justin, are you ready? Okay, first bean coming at you. What do you think?
Store-bought.
Store-bought? Okay. Second bean. Your thoughts?
Local.
Local. He was wrong. That's it. The impact of green beans also extends to literature. In Tony Early's piece in Cornbread 3, titled Two Grandmothers, He depicts the green beans his grandmother would can as a symbol for her perseverance, as her beans were the only things remaining after a particularly cruel frost. Green beans are also a staple to cookbooks. Because of the variety of ways you can prepare beans and the large net of people who enjoy the beans, they appear in a barrage of dishes. These include salads, casseroles, stir-fry, lasagna, sandwiches, and of course, on their own. One example of the green beans' ever-present nature in Southern cookbooks is in John Edgerton's Southern Food, At Home, On the Road, in History, in which he includes a recipe for preparing green beans in the traditional mess of beans style. Edgerton was originally from Atlanta, but his family settled in Cadiz, Kentucky, where John completed high school. He went on to publish many works for periodicals and ended up being one of the founders of the Southern Foodways Alliance. He kicks off his section on green beans by announcing his allegiance to the Kentucky Wonder pole bean, which he sustains have no peer. Edgerton's recipe for green beans is quite manageable. All it calls for is a 2-inch cube of salt pork, 4 cups of water, a pound of beans, snapped and stringed, and 1 teaspoon of salt. He says this recipe captures the green beans' maximum taste. To illustrate some of the varieties of ways green beans are displayed in cookbooks, here's a recipe included in the Brevard Music Center's cookbook, Cooking in Harmony, titled Herbed Green Beans. This style of preparation is a zesty spin on the classic. The recipe here calls for 1 pound of green beans, cut into 1-inch lengths, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 cup of minced onion, 1/2 clove of garlic, minced, 1/4 cup of celery, minced, 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary, 1/4 teaspoon of basil, and 1/4 teaspoon salt. These recipes included in this cookbook are accumulated from a variety of members from the Brevard community. This is an effective way to garner green bean recipes because they are so popular and because everyone has their preferred way of eating them. Obviously, many people love green beans. As Edgerton states in his cookbook, properly cooked, they are generally considered the most popular dinner table side dish in the whole region. So, to highlight the similarities between store-bought beans...
Hold on, you just said similarities. You gotta roll that back.
Damn, dude.
A little tense on the set.